Cinderella. Once upon a time, there lived a pure and gentle girl named Cinderella. She lived with her stepmother and two stepsisters who treated her cruelly. Her father had passed away, leaving Cinderella alone with her wicked stepmother. She rose early to sweep the floors, fetch water, and light the fire. She scrubbed the steps and mended clothes until her fingers grew sore. Her stepsisters called her Cinderella because of the cinders on her face. But Cinderella never lost her kind spirit. She sang while she worked, her gentle voice filling the cottage. The birds chirped and the mice squeaked, helping her with her chores. One day, a royal messenger arrived in the village, sounding a trumpet. He announced that the prince would host a ball to find his bride. Every maiden in the land was invited. The whole village buzzed with excitement. Cinderella's stepsisters squealed with delight and demanded the finest gowns. Cinderella worked day and night to prepare their dresses, sewing pearls and lace. The stepsisters twirled, boasting about how the prince would choose them. Cinderella twirled with her broom, imagining she was dancing with the prince. She sighed, her heart yearning to go to the ball and dance beneath the stars. Mustering her courage, she asked her stepmother if she could also go to the ball. Her stepmother sneered. "You? At the ball? In those rags?" She laughed. That evening, the stepsisters climbed into the carriage, leaving Cinderella behind. Cinderella ran to the garden and wept, her tears sparkling in the fading light. Suddenly, a warm glow filled the air, and her fairy godmother appeared. "Do not cry, child," she said kindly. "You too shall go to the ball." She tapped a pumpkin with her wand, and it grew into a golden carriage. The scurrying mice became strong white horses with silver manes. With another wave of her wand, Cinderella's rags transformed into a ball gown. Tiny glass slippers appeared on her feet, glittering like starlight. The fairy godmother warned, "Remember, child, the magic will end at midnight." Cinderella thanked her kindly and stepped into the carriage, her heart racing. The carriage rolled through the forest and across the bridge, carrying her to the palace. The palace glowed with golden lanterns, music spilling into the starry night. As she entered the ballroom, the guests gasped in awe at her beauty. The prince's eyes met hers, and he bowed deeply, asking her to dance. They danced beneath glittering chandeliers, as time seemed to stop. They moved gracefully across the floor, twirling as the lights sparkled. The garden sparkled as Cinderella and the prince danced in the moonlight. But suddenly, the clock struck midnight, its sound loud and piercing. Cinderella gasped, remembering her fairy godmother's warning. Frantic, she raced down the marble steps without looking back. Cinderella didn't realize that one of her glass slippers had slipped from her foot. The prince called after her, but the carriage was long gone. As the last chime sounded, her gown faded into rags, and the magic vanished. Cinderella sat on the kitchen floor, her gown gone, feeling alone and defeated. But the glass slipper lay on the palace steps, shimmering in the darkness. The next morning, the prince declared he would marry the maiden who fit the glass slipper. He vowed to try the slipper on every maiden until he found the women he had danced with. They visited every household, presenting the delicate slipper to eager maidens. In one village, a group of young women lined up, each taking turns to try on the slipper. Meanwhile, at Cinderella's home, her stepsisters were in a frenzy. They preened and posed, desperate to make the slipper fit, but their efforts were in vain. As they argued, Cinderella stepped forward, and the prince allowed her to try it on. However, before she could try on the slipper, her stepmother dropped it to the ground. The shattered glass shards lay on the floor as Cinderella's stepmother smiled. Cinderella remained calm, reaching into her pocket to reveal the other slipper. The prince's heart leapt with joy, for he knew she was the one he had danced with. Her fairy godmother appeared once more, blessing Cinderella with her magic. The prince lifted Cinderella's hand, leading her to his carriage with warmth and love. They rode to the palace, where bells rang joyfully and people cheered for the princess. A grand wedding was held, filled with music, laughter, and happiness. From that day forward, ruled the kingdom with kindness and love for all. And Cinderella and her prince lived happily ever after.